feeling good enough to move again and to stay active. And for those of you who don't know, but most of you do know, I'm a competitive athlete. I'm a physique competitor. So my training is not just go for a walk. Like, it's rigorous, right? And I took my time easing back and so on and so forth. And it was probably like 3 weeks later that we finally figured out what was going on. But here's what I was experiencing. I was waking up in the morning, I was getting ready to do my journaling, and within an hour and a half, I was exhausted.
Yes.
And I was like, I need to take a nap. So that was one of the things.
Extreme fatigue.
I was experiencing high levels of anxiety and confusion, which are not typical things for me. It's almost the best way for me to describe it is my brain was just not working the way it normally works. I can usually hold a multitude of thoughts, projects, and just kind of pull on them rapidly. I couldn't do that. And that was therefore increasing anxiety.
Yep. So anxiety itself wasn't necessarily a symptom. It was kind of a byproduct of this brain fog. Right? It kind of elevated your anxiety.
In my case, but it actually is a symptom.
Is it?
Yeah. So, and then the other things that I experienced, I had bad headaches. Outside the normal headaches that I usually have, because headaches are an issue for me. But the big thing, there's two big things that I noticed. Number one, I was getting exhausted just taking the dog for a walk. Like for 4 weeks afterwards, taking Meatball for a walk in the morning, I was like bagged. And the thing that was probably the most obvious is whenever I was on coaching calls after like a 3-hour, 4-hour day of coaching, my chest pain.
Yeah.
Just like, I can't even describe it to you. My chest pain, the pain in my neck, all of it like just locked down. And like I had back pain from a lung pain. Like there's more things that I'm not listing right now. But
those are the major ones.
Those were the major ones that I experienced. But so here's the thing for me is I just assumed, number one, I was like, oh, I was sick, number one. Number two, maybe this pain is just hormonal. Maybe this pain is because I'm an athlete. Like, I wasn't even thinking about it at all until I happened to be having a conversation with our applied neurology coach.
Yes.
Who was like, oh, I'm working on this project about long haulers, blah, 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 blah. And like 3 hours later, I messaged her and I was like, are these some of the symptoms? And she's like, those are all the symptoms.
It's a very interesting thing.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Let me add something, because when you described your symptoms, I kind of came into a recognition of something. They're almost like cyclical, aren't they? It's almost like the extreme fatigue maybe creates a certain level of frustration, because no one likes it when they can't perform or behave the way they want to.
Right.
And then you tack on this brain fog where you can't think carefully or correctly. So now you're kind of increasing anxiety. And then you tack on that, or maybe you don't tack it on, but you can see how those two things contribute to chest pain and some neck pain, which only serves to make you more tired and more anxious. You see how cyclical that is?
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, but that cyclical nature of it actually matters in this explanation.
And I actually think that like one of the most challenging things for me was that it was, first of all, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't think that there was anything wrong. I just assumed that it was one of those things that I already said. But the thing was that it was like one day was good, one day was bad. One day was good, one day was bad.
Which increased your frustration.
And it's like, so it's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, can I just please do the stuff that I want to do and get it done? Like, I was so frustrated in the early days before I found out. I mean, I've had lots of moments of frustration afterwards, but that I used that all and I channeled all that into where I'm at now, which I'm sure you have questions about. But that's kind of what I experienced, how I came to find out that this is what it was.
Frank, can you just give us a minute left? Is that what it was? I don't think. We can do what we want. Frankie said so. Actually, I love what we're stopping here, because we want to finish the story of why is this such an important lesson, whether you've had COVID, don't have COVID. It's got nothing to do with COVID. It's got to do with perspective, your life, and the way you choose to succeed. Okay, so I'm actually going to leave it there. When we come back after break, I'm going to open up by talking a little bit about some of the friends we have who've also had COVID and what they're experiencing right now, what their recourse was, what your recourse was, and why this might be the most important mindset lesson you'll ever hear in your entire life.